I have my two duelists for round 11. We have Jonah Rucklin versus Raphaël Duriez. And we're going to see exactly what's happening here. Gentlemen, we're going to do a high roll with the dice, so would one of you like to roll the dice first? Okay, that is a 7. And that is a 9. Who's going to go first? You're going to go first. Okay, Jonah's going to be going first. I'm going to hand you guys over for the first time today to a wonderful German commentator duo. We've got Leo and Basti. Guys, take it away for round 11.
Thank you so much, Ed. We are happy to be back. Now the German commentary duo also in action in day 2. And round number 11 brings us a pretty interesting deck, which we haven't seen at all yet this weekend. And honestly, we didn't expect it to really be that viable in that format, because there was actually some new approach to the deck recently, and it is apparently working out in the hands of Raphaël.
Yeah, Mystic Mine was forbidden with the last Forbidden and Limited list. And there was a new card found, or rather a really, really old card.
Actually, it is a very old card,
that serves a similar purpose, and we are talking about the Runick stun deck with Messenger of Peace.
Yes, there is Messenger of Peace. That is the card that shall buy you the time you need, and that's actually quite funny, because back in the day, 2005 format, for example, we remember playing that time with that format. Messenger of Peace already had the same purpose, and now it's back in action. Let's see how much time Raphaël can buy with Messenger of Peace. Let's see round 11 of YCS Lyon now.
Is going to open this duel, I think.
Yeah, for sure. He won the die roll, and that's a pretty big issue, because when you are playing a deck with a lot of back row, with a lot of spell cards, with a lot of trap cards, you rather want to go first. And also, this card, Dimension Shifter, can be very much of an issue, because you want to get your Runick cards into the graveyard to recycle them with Runick Fountain, and that way, you cannot do that.
The good thing is you now know that there is a Dimension Shifter in play. There's not going to be another one, it's just for this turn only. And we have seen on Raphael's hand that there is a Lava Golem, which is also a potential win option, kind of. I mean, you can always just link it away. But we are going to see a combo now. This looks like a really strong full combo board. You can always go for just an Arise Heart to play around the main deck Lava Golem. I'm not sure if we are going to see it here. However, Raphaël is also running powerful cards that stop the opponent from playing, so you can just wait out the shifter and then recycle your Runick spells in just one turn after.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I said that there are a lot of trap cards, of course, because we know that from these kind of decks, but even in turn 3, those might come in very handy, because imagine just flipping, there can be only one, flipping a skill drain or something like that, or even just activating your Messenger of Peace, which will stick to the field as a continuous spell card, and all of those cards could actually be pretty problematic for Jonah there.
Now we are, I think for the first time on stream, seeing the nice combo played out right here.
Yeah, true.
Shangri-Ira summoned to the field, and now Rise Heart is special summoned, immediately activating the effect to banish the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck, which usually is the thing that Runick wants to do.
Yeah, actually that is now working against him with his own weapons, but you know what could be really interesting to see here? Both players are French. Maybe they know each other, and if Jonah knows that Raphaël is on that Runick deck, he may as well just block spell and trap zones instead of monster zones, which is what you usually do, and therefore Raphaël could really be struggling versus that. So we are now going to activate the effect of Shangri-Ira.
Big Bang was activated in Chain Link 2, and wow, there is a spell trap zone.
We are actually blocking the spell and trap zones. I think Jonah knows what he's facing here.
So we are immediately going to summon a Kashtira, a Rise Heart. Very important here, but I don't know if there's anything else he can do. There is the Birth in hand. That means he could potentially summon the Kashtira Telements from hand. I don't know how important this is to him, because just blocking out one zone is not really
and he's giving it over,
enough.
just one spell and trap zone being blocked. And I mean, we saw the Lava Golem, so he can just get rid of the Shangri-Ira immediately, and then all of his spell and trap zones are going to be available again.
I mean, it would have always help to have the Lava Golem, right? So even if there was a full 5-zone block, this wouldn't have mattered here.
That is actually correct. So now you're most likely going to get rid of the Arisod, and then probably the Shangri-Ira as well, I would assume.
You barely ever activate monster effects, maybe
Okay,
once.
those will definitely go to the banish pile, yeah. They just realized that as well. So there is now a strong and powerful fire monster on his side of the field that he didn't see coming.
Yeah.
There is Lava Golem hitting the board.
And now the damage clock is ticking, and there is another Lava Golem. Lava Golem.
Oh my, the
disables
double Lava Golem.
It stops you from normal summoning that turn, but you can always special summon another Lava Golem.
Yeah, and I mean, usually the Runick deck is one that wants to deck out the opponent, but now he has an actual win con in burning his opponent with the Lava Golems on his side of the field, and now there comes the Desires. That's such a good card to activate there, because that gives you one more card than you had before in your hand, drawing into 2 cards after banishing 10.
I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves. There is IP Masquerena in the extra deck of Jonah, so he can always just link away those 2 Lava Golems.
Yeah, that is indeed true. So he's not stuck with them at least. So, what are we banishing here? So of course, it's dangerous to activate the Desires before we secure that we have a Runick Fountain in our hand, because activating the Desires first might mean that we just banished all of our Runick Fountains. And yeah, there is no Runick Fountain for the moment. We are just setting for and giving it back over to Jonah.
That would actually mean that you might get deck outed yourself.
That's honestly true.
After
And
activating Desires, especially.
yeah, there is a pretty interesting card in the opening hand of Jonah as well. There is Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill, and honestly, I did not see a whole lot of people play that in this event. I think this is like one of the least played hand interactions in the tournament overall, but it's working out pretty well for Jonah apparently.
Yeah, also, it has a similar effect to Effect Veiler, but the additional purpose of it is to normal summon it, because you don't always need your normal summon in that deck, and go for Baron de Fleur.
Ooh, we go for the activation of Kashtira Birth, but it's immediately met with Runick Destruction. We're banishing 4 cards face down. Oh no, it's actually face up even with the Runick cards.
Maybe a Theosis for some additional
Ooh,
resources.
it is
Yes.
Theosis indeed. And I mean, yes, you traded 1 for 1 there, but usually what is so powerful about the Runick deck is that you can just recover all of your spell cards with Runick Fountain. And therefore, he's missing that right here, and he's just giving away resources, not getting them back on the spot.
I think he just did not add from...
Ooh, he did not activate the effect of Theosis, that's true.
Maybe it wasn't Theosis.
It looked like Theosis, though.
I think so too.
So we are banishing Kashtira Birth for tier limits Kashtira. It is special summon to the field. I mean, our opponent used Desires, so we might as well just mill our opponent,
Yeah.
but apparently we don't want to do that.
So maybe Jonah just wants to put both Lava Golems into attack position, committing into the Mirror Force.
I mean, let me check the list. Is there Mirror Force? No, Mirror Force is sadly not in the list, but does Raphaël have a way to
Gravity
prevent
Bind?
this? I mean, there are a lot of Runick spell cards, and Runick spell cards can just special summon out extra deck monsters, and there's a pretty good one you can special out to protect yourself. Yeah, look, there's Flashing Fire, and Flashing Fire most likely is just going to special summon out the Gary here. Yeah, he's grabbing his extra deck, and Gary does not only block one of the attacks, but it can also pop another card. But no, never mind, we are going for Fracky in this instance. Fracky, the newest Runick extra deck monster from Darkwing Blast. And when an attack is declared involving this card in the extra monster zone, and it will always be in the extra monster zone, of course, you can banish up to 2, or you can banish the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck.
And when it is destroyed by battle, you can add back the Flashing Fire from the graveyard.
That is true. So we are okay. I think I just realized what happened there, and I think that could actually be correct. The Lava Golem already declared the attack. Then we special summoned out the Fracky, only leading to a replay and not an actual attack declaration, and therefore the effect of Fracky did not even trigger, because it's only a replay of an attack and not an actual attack declaration. And therefore we did not banish any cards off of the top of Jonah's deck there.
I think that he maybe just discarded the Moonlit Chill.
Ooh, you think he negated it? That's also
Yeah.
true. There's a Moonlit Shell now in the graveyard. You're
Also,
right.
it helps him get more damage, and because Fracky says no player gets battle damage
True,
from
but
battles
now
involving this
Raphaël
card.
is just summoning out the next Runick monster from his extra deck by Slumber, and this time it is the Gary we anticipated on the first summon already. I mean, as I said, Raphaël is going down in resources here. Without the fountain, it is so much harder for the Runick deck to actually keep on grinding, because just by attacking, Jonah now got rid of 2 cards on the opponent's side of the field.
That is true. However, the Kashtira Tillmans is also destroyed. Now we can see the Rise Heart in main phase 2 activating its effect to banish a possible Theosis, to add back the Unicorn that you could tribute over the 2 Lava Golems, by the way.
Yeah, you can just normal summon it for real. Let's see whether that's about to happen.
We are seeing one dangerous card in the extra deck of Jonah.
Which one are you referring to?
The Blackluster Soldier Link Monster.
Yeah, the Soldier of Chaos. And I was really surprised because this card actually was used in our first featured match of the day that the Italians had the pleasure to cast, where it was summoned against Herman Hansen and his Labyrinth deck in the Tillmans deck, and nobody expected it there. And I think in the Kashtira deck it makes a lot more sense. It's much more natural to have that card in the extra deck there.
Also, our European Championships runner-up Zio is using the card this weekend.
Ooh.
Or was.
Fair enough, yeah, he's not in the tournament anymore, I have to say that. But yeah, they are now getting sure that the correct amount of damage is being put on. And Raphaël is down to 2,500 life points. That is quite a bit of damage. And we see the Kashtira deck actually is the deck that can feature a lot of hand interactions. He's running Ash Blossom, he's running Impermanence, and therefore the matchup versus Runick is actually not that bad, because you can hit like cards, you can hit cards like Runick Fountain with Ash Blossom, you can hit a Hagen that wants to get you to Runick Fountain with Impermanence, so that could definitely be problematic here.
Also, I think that the card that was banished earlier was the planet, the Pressure Planet Raisoth, because I saw 2 Kashtira Theosis in the deck now.
Fair enough. That explains a lot.
And now we are getting the Birth Back. Birth effect is going to summon out the Unicorn, and Unicorn is going to be able to search for yet another Theosis.
Absolutely. One card that Raphaël would have needed here would have been There Can Be Only One, because There Can Be Only One would have gotten rid of one of the Lava Golems. Also, it would have hindered Jonah from summoning all those Psychics to the field, but he did not have access to that specific card here.
I mean, there's just one Psychic on the field right now, which is
at the moment, yes, true. But before we had multiple. Before there was the Scarecrow Kashtira on there.
He also has an extra deck out for a possible There Can Be Only One, which would be Mecha Phantom Beast Dracossack. However, you wouldn't be able to summon any tokens, so Phantom Beast Dracossack would have to tribute itself to destroy the There Can Be Only One.
Look, we are actually checking how many cards we have left in deck. And I mean, if we go Mind Hacker there, that might already be enough, because Mind Hacker is going to banish a lot of cards from our opponent's deck, because there are already so many face-down cards being banished by the effect of Pot of Desires. And we are going for the Mind Hacker here immediately, and it looks like Raphaël is picking up the cards, because the Runick deck-out deck has just been decked out here live on stream in Game 1.
That is incredibly cool. I was saying earlier, Pot of Desires is a really dangerous game, especially against a deck that runs Diabloses.
That is actually insane. It's really dangerous to play Desires in the current meta game, because we can analyze the situation of the top tables a little bit further right now. We were walking through the rows as we have not been casting the first 2 matches, and we saw that Kashtira is doing really well in this tournament. Yeah, when you walk through the top tables like table 1 to 20, at least every second table, it looked like there was a Kashtira player on it.
I think we have about 70 Tillmans in the tournament still, or we had after round 1 of the tournament, and
today.
About 30 Kashtiras, and seeing that there were like 4 times as many Tillmans.
Indeed.
That's a good conversion rate for Kashtira.
For sure. I think a lot of actually really accomplished players are on the deck. I saw a lot of big names playing that deck, and of course they have invested the time to already have their combos figured out before the event, even though the cards are only released for 2 days, but still they already knew their stuff, they know what they're doing with the deck, and I think the deck is a super big contender, and actually even my personal favorite from now on to win the whole thing. If you would have asked me on Friday, I would have probably told you it should be tier. But now, looking at the current situation, I'm rather favoring the Kashtira deck.
I have talked to a lot of Tillman players in this tournament, because there are a lot, and they are moaning about Rise Heart. Rise Heart is really a problem if you don't have the answer to it, because you have to draw your Eclipse or Lunar Eclipse. you
Indeed,
just
have
lose.
to.
Also, many of the players have started to play around Nibiru because there is an easy way to play around Nibiru. You go Unicorn, Theosis, Fenrir, Search a Rysart, Search Rysart, a Rysart.
There's the Rysart.
As easy as that.
That's enough usually, which is
Yeah.
pretty strong. Also,
You take a turn from
one
your
card
opponent.
that has been pretty popular among the Kashtira players is Gravekeeper's Inscription, another super
Yes.
powerful card from Photon
Yes,
Hypernova.
yes.
And it's just a Best Dweller as a spell card for two
two
turns
turns.
even. Yeah, so that's actually really good.
Even strong going second because so much of the strength of the Tearlament board comes from fusion summoning in the opponent's turn.
That is indeed true. So that card really helping out all the Kashtira players in the Tearlaments matchup. Let's see how much of help Jonah will have with his Kashtira deck here in his side deck versus the Runick matchup though. And honestly, I can tell you, there are quite a few weapons he brought because we are seeing evenly matched. We are seeing Harpy's Feather Duster, and we are seeing Twin
And
Twisters
that
even.
is way more than usual in this
Yeah.
tournament, and it's going to pay off for him this time. So I think the players are just about to get ready. So let's get over to game 2 of the round 3 featured match of day 2.
Here we go. There we have them. Raphaël now having the advantage of going first, hopefully being able to set up a Runick Fountain as quickly as possible to get into the resource regenerating game that this deck is supposed to have.
Basti, what do you think about these sleeves that Jonah is rocking?
Oh, they're beautiful, honestly. My favorite card of all time, Sky Striker Mobilize Engage. The beautiful sleeves from Magnificent Mavens. I love them, and I think there's also one thing that Jonah is loving right now, and it is the Dimension Shifter in his opening hand, which is so strong. Just banish all the spells.
By the way, Basti, I thought that your favorite card was a ninja card.
No, it's my favorite competitive meta deck for the moment, but it's not my favorite deck of all time.
Okay.
But there is a super interesting... Oh, we start off with Smiting Storm, and there are no cards on the opponent's side of the field. Therefore, we only can special summon out for the moment, and it is directly the chain of Dimension Shifters, so the Smiting Storm gets banished. We are summoning out the Moonin, and Moonin is not going to be able to search out anything as he's not playing any continuous spell cards of the Runick, so there would be Runick Allure, but he's not playing that in his main deck. But also this protects from targeting effects, which is quite nice, and it's followed by Pot of Desire, so we're getting ourselves into the same situation that we just had last game, honestly.
I mean, we already said it is dangerous, but you still have to activate it. If you did not side it out, then you will have to play it. You can't just start with one less card in your deck, in your hand.
And there also was one card that I already saw in his opening hand, and that's a pretty interesting card because I didn't see it being played in a while. I saw that a couple of Runick players have been on it, but actually Paradox Fusion has been sided in by Raphaël Duriez, and he had it in his opening hand, and it's actually kind of nice because it's a counter trap negate, and you only have to get rid of a fusion monster for it. And I mean, in Runick, you usually are going to have that on your field, and you are currently sitting there with one, being the Moonin. So that's kind of a nice thing to start with here. Oh, and there is the evenly matched in battle phase. That was the card that Jonah picked up for turn, but there comes Dark Bribe. Another card that was sided in by Raphaël. He really has a bunch to go first. And what's the card we're drawing? Is he just drawing into another evenly matched? No, it's Triple Tactic Talents, which is not really the best card versus Runick, I can tell you.
That is true, but there are still no cards on the field that can stop Jonah from playing right now.
That is true. And normal summon. Oh no, rather special summon of Kashtira, Fenrir, but immediately getting rid of it with the Runick Flashing Fire. You special summon this, so I can immediately destroy it with that. And we're also going to banish 2 cards, being the Planet and the Prosperity.
Luckily, it was a planet, because otherwise, if it was a Theosis, you could just add it back to hand again.
But that means we are going to summon out Rysart here.
I'm wondering why he's not activating the planet for now, because I think that you could have searched for a unicorn. Oh, it's Theosis. Okay.
They do look very similar, but he activates
right?
Theosis here. They're both secret rares from Photon Hypernova, and they have a similar foiling and also like similar colors on it, so I do definitely understand. And it looks like we are going for the Paradox Fusion here, tributing our Moonin to negate the activation of Kashtira Theosis there.
Paradox Fusion will, of course, resolve. I do not expect to see a red reboot in this situation.
Yeah, and funnily enough, Paradox Fusion does not only tribute the monster and banish it for cost, but also it will return the monster in the second standby phase, or is it end phase? Second end phase after the activation. And that's quite funny, because that could lead to Runick fusion monsters actually not being in the extra monster zone, where they always are by nature, but in this situation you would have to return them to the main monster zone, which is quite funny, because usually they don't belong there.
A really rare occasion.
Yeah.
But as Dimension Shifter was activated earlier, you can just add back the Fenrir because the Theosis was banished, in fact.
That's true, but there is one card being set. It looks like that is hindering Jonah from playing on. 2 cards left in the hand of Raphaël.
But I mean, he outed the entire board of Raphaël, so there is still a really good chance for Jonah. I think he has 2 more cards than his opponent.
I think now it's getting easier, because now you can summon out Hagen that gets you into the Runick Fountain, and you can actually do stuff with that, but we're setting... Oh no, we're not getting to Hagen apparently. Oh, but we drew into Card of Demise, which is 3 new cards! What a top deck there for Raphaël! He now has all the options. He will not be able to go into Hagen this turn, but maybe he just hard drew into a Runick Fountain. He drew into our Messenger of Peace. There he is. No attacks anymore from monsters with 1,500 or more attack points.
And no monster like a Lava Golem was drawn in this turn, so just 3 additional cards. Nothing has to be discarded. This is absolutely massive for Raphaël. I was just saying that it still looks good for Jonah because he has the card advantage and he draws into the Ash Blossom. That is 1 turn too late because it would have been able to negate the Card of Demise.
That would have been a pretty big counter for the Demise, but it did resolve, and now Jonah sits there facing 4 fresh back rows again, which is a lot. So playing through all of that will be quite a task here.
And now he's looking at his cards, desperately trying to find a play, but he has Super Polymerization set. There is just Rise Out on the field. He can't Tribute Summon the Fenrir. He can normal summon the Ash Blossom. By the way, if he played Black Rose Dragon, this would be massive here.
That would actually be insane. Let me check whether there are any cool Link 2s that he could summon.
I mean, what he can do is activate Rise Heart to push it to level 7, normal summon the Ash Blossom, and go into Baron de Fleur.
Which he's not playing.
Really?
Yeah, he's not playing Baron de Fleur.
Oh, I thought it was so smart to run Ghost Mana and Moonlit Chill then.
Yeah, that cannot be the reason for that.
Okay.
So, we are in Raphael's turn again, though. We are paying 100, so the Messenger of Peace will stick to the board. I do understand the decision. That card is saving us for now.
I also agree with that play to keep it on the field.
Yeah, for sure. He's hindering his opponent from attacking. I mean, for the moment, there are not even that many monsters that could attack for Jonah. But all those back row cards there. This is a super comfortable situation for Raphaël now. It looked like Jonah easily just breaks the entire board with the Dimension Shifter he resolved in turn 1. But Raphaël is not only back in this game, I think he's in a pretty good situation even. Look, there's even the return of Moonin now, as we talked about it. During the second end phase, it's coming back and it's in the main monster zone. And it's resolving the effect to gain 1,000 life points.
And it is an attack position. It is taunting the opponent because he cannot attack at all here.
That is true.
I think there are 4 back row cards, so even if you can find your way into a possible Dracossack, your opponent is probably going to have an answer to it.
Most likely, yeah. I would be confused if there would be no answer among all those cards. But Theosis, first of all, is resolving. Last time Theosis was activated, we instantly negated it with the Paradox Fusion, but this time it's resolving and it's fusion summoning, or it's special summoning out the Kashtira Fenrir. With all the Telements fusion summoning, I was like, yeah, that must be a fusion summon there, but of course it's only a special summon from deck. But there comes Flashing Fire once more. Every monster that he's special summoning immediately gets met with that Flashing Fire. And not only that, but also 2 banished cards. And look, that is a good card to banish there with the evenly matched.
History repeats itself right here. We are seeing 2 cards, but we are seeing, is this a Theosis or is it a Raid Soft? It's Theosis, but I don't think there's anything to add for him, right? Because you cannot target a different Theosis.
Yeah, that's not true. That's not possible for him. So we are in end phase again. We are gaining 1,000 more life points through Moonin, and we are drawing another card for turn. But But still, like, Raphaël, if he does not have Runick Fountain in his deck anymore, he may as well be in danger to deck out first here, because I don't know how he's actually going to lower the life points of Jonah, to be honest. And here is, oh, but there is the Runick Fountain, and that is finally the card you want to see in your field spell zone as a Runick player. And he also has the Runick Tip. That combination here is crucial, but remember, there was Ash Blossom in the opening hand, but we are using it on the Runick Tip. That still means we can resolve the effect of Runick Fountain, though.
The activation was not negated, just the effect.
I would have definitely waited there to just deny the draws of Runick Fountain, but Jonah decided against it. We are now switching Moon into defense position, got 2 fresh draws of a Runick Fountain, and Raphaël is still looking strong here.
Maybe Jonah right now is not on his best mental game. He just made a decision that is rather questionable. Letting your opponent not get 1 card, but instead get 2 cards.
Yeah. And in end phase, it keeps on going. Moonen is just adding another 1,000 life points to the total amount of Raphaël, now being at 11,800 life points.
You should see the big smile on Sebastian's face as a passionate Runick player.
Indeed, I love to see that.
We are packing up. That's too many life points for Raphaël. Jonah decides that he cannot beat that at all anymore. There is nothing in his deck that can save it in this situation. Against possible interactions, possible negates for a Harpy's Feather Duster or Twin Twister.
Raphaël Dury has showcased why this deck is going so strong in the tournament, and that he's still a contender here in the second to last round of Swiss for today. So absolutely massive stuff from him there. And now going second. He's not only having the Lava Golds, which we already saw in the main deck, but he's also upping the amount of tribute cards for the opponent. Ring Dragon Sphere Mode is also coming in, I can tell you that. Thrice even.
That is
Do we bring
really
that in versus
strong.
Kashtira though? Is it that strong versus Kashtira?
I think that it's an interesting decision to even play it in the side deck, you know, because you show your opponent's Lava Golem on turn 1, so maybe they just want to go for an Arise Heart, even though that really plays into Flashing Fire.
That as well, yeah. Flashing Fire is so strong.
So if you summon 1 monster, you play into Flashing Fire. If you summon 2 monsters, you play into Lava Golem. And if you summon 3, you play into the Sphere Mode that you don't know of. So maybe you really want to go for the 3. Also, there is a possibility, I mean, if you open a really strong combo, you can always zone lock your opponent for 5.
That would be the perfect scenario here for him. He definitely wants to get rid of all those back rows now. In game 1, he already anticipated that there would be a back row deck by locking 1 spell and trap zone, which is obviously not perfect.
But, I mean, it makes sense. If you can only lock 1, you always want to lock a pendulum zone.
Fair enough, because your opponent is going to be able to play anyways. And if it is a pendulum deck, you might as well take away 1 pendulum zone. I agree.
You take the free win.
That is definitely something good. But let's see what Jonah is actually capable of bringing in here going first. And honestly, it's probably just going to be the same back row removals that he already had in game number 2.
Evenly, maybe.
Maybe even that, to be honest, though. Like, even that might be an option, because if your opponent grinds into the game and gets rid of your board somehow with Flashing Fire and all that kind of stuff, you might as well use a late evenly, and that could absolutely help.
Also, you can just be a bit of an actor, you know? Like, say, oh man, this hand I cannot really play, and when your opponent commits, you just evenly them.
Yeah,
so, the players are ready, we are ready, so let's get back into game 3 of round 11.
There we have them, Jonah versus Raphaël for one last game here in this round. Nice sportsmanship there, giving the fist pump before the final game. And let's see what the options are here for both players.
We can finally see Raphaël opening with a Runick Fountain. Do we see another Dimension Shifter? That would be really nice. No, we are just seeing a super combo here on Jonah's side. There are so many engine cards. He can't even help himself. I can see him locking his opponent out of his entire field, hoping that there is not a Lava Golem.
Let's see whether that's going to be the case.
We are adding this one to hand. We are not
Unicorn is just a card you're always going to go for, because this gets you into more plays, special summoning out the Unicorn, and now it's either going to be Birth or Theosis that we're adding here. And look, both cards right next to each other, and he decides for Kashtira Birth there.
Kashtira Birth is a really strong card, having 2 effects that you really want to use. Now going for the additional, or for the normal summon without tributing, not an additional one. I can see it. You don't want to go for Theosis in this situation because you have 2 Fenris in hand. You would rather keep 1 more in the deck.
Yeah. That's definitely a smart decision. And we are searching for Telemans
Kashtira.
Or Kashtira Tielemans, rather, yeah. For a second, that name was blinded out of my hat. So, Raphael is
It's actually
watching all of
Tielemans
this.
Kashtira, not Kashtira Tielemans.
Oh yeah, this way around, you're right. So, and also Rysard already in his opening hand.
So this is the combo that you want to have if you are Jonah. Let's see what he makes of it. Has he just immediately, he wants to pass on a Rysard?
It does look like it, yep, I would agree.
Okay, so he makes the decision to play around the Lava Golem, which also would mean that he wouldn't go for a Kashtira birth here to summon back the Scareclaw Kashtira that he is contemplating to banish. Yes, he does. And if it's not an Rysard pass, I would be really confused.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there are 4 spells in hand of his opponent and 1 skill drain, so this is basically the worst choice you could make against this deck.
Versus that specific opening hand?
Yeah,
yes.
exactly, not versus the deck.
Oh, but yeah, as you said, we are only going to end on 1 monster. A Rysard is hitting the field, and he's placing his extra deck face up there. Look, already fearing his opponent with another Rysard face up there on the extra deck. But we are going to pass on a Rysard, and I think I saw an Ash Blossom in the hand. But as you said earlier, just a singular Flashing Fire would be able to deal with that Rysard.
You can also always negate that card if you want to, so there are multiple options to get rid of it.
Yeah, that is true.
Or to basically make it unscary.
Yeah, so it's either Flashing Fire, Freezing Curses, as you said, could be the way to negate it actually and then deal with it later on. Then of course, I think I saw Skill Drain in his opening hand, so maybe he just delays it by 1 turn and then flips up Skill Drain on the opponent's turn. That does work as well. I am really curious to see which way he goes. I think there also was pot of duality indeed, so we are grabbing 3 more cards, or we at least having a look at 3 more cards. And Jonah again just using the Ash Blossom on the first thing that he sees. There is the immediate answer to duality. We are attaching the duality to our Rysard there. And I don't know, we saw that Raphael actually has Runick Fountain. Ooh, okay, I thought he has a way to deal with the Rysard, but looks like he does.
But he has the skill drain, and there are only 2 cards in hand here. He's activating the Runick Fountain, signalizing, okay, you can go for another turn with your monsters. I will have skill drain, I will have answers after that.
The thing is, can't you just use a Rysard now in the end phase and get rid of the Runick Fountain?
Maybe he has Freezing Curses in hand?
That could be something, but don't you... Yeah, it's weird. Let's see. What is the procedure here? Is he going to do something about it? Do we? Yes, we have the Runick Freezing Curses. That is so strong in that particular instance because it does not only negate the effect of a Rysard Kashtira, but also will give him an additional draw through Runick Fountain because that card is not going to hit the banish pile. It is much rather going into the graveyard, and he can activate the effect of Runick Fountain to draw.
On the other hand, a Rysard will trigger, and Kashtira Big Bang will also trigger, so the Fenrir under a Rysard can actually be special summoned to the field now after being added to the hand in the end phase.
Yeah, I mean, a Rysard will not trigger because it's negated, obviously, but the Big Bang Kashtira could have triggered, but it wasn't activated.
It will trigger, it will just not resolve.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Okay, normal summon Kashtira Fenrir.
No tributes. Birth is on the field. Birth is also going to be able.
But there is the skill drain we were thinking about. So this is looking pretty good here for Raphael. Does Jonah have an answer to it? His hand looks like Super Polymerization and the Kashtira Tielemans, or Tielemans Kashtira.
To be honest, his hand also looks like an OTK.
I mean, yeah, but there's probably going to be another answer. Yes, there is Runick's number. So Runick's number will be able to special summon out another Runick monster, being Gary here, protecting Raphael by the attack of the Fenrir. And yeah, a Rysard activates, of course, even under skill drain, it will activate, and it actually is not even optional, so you gotta always announce the effect of a Rysard there, but it's not going to do anything.
This is also what makes this deck really vulnerable to the triple tactic cards.
That is true. You have no choice but to activate all of those effects. And he's not even going to attack into the Gary, which I think is a smart and heads-up play, because now you're at least giving your opponent not the option to... Oh, but there comes Lava Golem over Rysart and the Fenrir. But yeah, you're not giving your opponent the option to special summon out more Runick monsters because his extra monster zone is already filled with the Gary. And therefore he can maybe not advance with drawing more and more cards through Runick Fountain.
But I think that Raphaël is absolutely fine with that. Lava Golem will not burn for 1000 damage in the standby phase. It will activate, of course, but Skill Drain says no, 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 no.
No effects on both players' side of the field. Which level is Lava Golem? It's sadly not rank 7, right? It's sadly not rank 7. Oh, level 7, I'm sorry.
Unlike Chaos Hunter.
Yeah,
which
Chaos
was
Hunter
taken by Triple Tactic Talents yesterday and it was really strong.
Yeah. Could just use it. Okay, Kashtira Birth is being used. We are summoning out the Unicorn, but again, it's not really doing anything for us besides having a lot of attack points. The thing though is maybe having attack points here is not even too bad. And yeah, now it makes me think maybe we should have run over the Gary last turn already and we would have more damage here.
I mean, there is an out to Skill Drain that was on board the entire time.
We just drew into another Runick spell. Special summoning out another Gary, and of course using the effect of Runick Fountain to draw one more card by shuffling back the Flashing Fire. He is staying strong in this. We're running over Gary again. Gary is not once per turn. He also tries to destroy the field spell here.
And that is really important, because if he had used Birth in the last turn as well to special summon another body on the field, he could have gone for Shangri-Ira this turn, and Shangri-Ira would have been able to activate in the standby phase, being negated, but Raidsoth would still trigger and destroy the Skill Drain.
Wow, you're right. That would have absolutely been the heads-up play there.
So that's why I did not really understand why he did not use the special summoning effect of Birth, because he was playing into Lava Golem
and
anyways.
There is Runick Destruction going after the Super Polymerization, and not only that, but also banishing 4 cards from the opponent's deck. So we are progressing with our deck out strategy here quite fast.
So the deck does not only rely on Messenger of Peace, because there are constantly strong monsters on the opponent's side of the field, but you can just basically wall with your fusion monsters and then get extra draws.
Wow, and another card of Demise here in game 3 as well. Refreshing the hand with 3 more cards. What a draw again. Raphaël back-to-back games resolving card of Demise.
No Ash Blossom in the hand of Jonah. There was only one Ash Blossom that was used on Runick Tip so far, and I cannot believe how much advantage Raphaël has now.
Oh, we are
Even
going to
more
draw
draws.
2 more cards with Runick Fountain.
And it's okay, you have to discard in the end phase, but if you discard... Oh, he has another fountain.
Runick Fountain right there.
If he discards quick spell play cards, that's fine.
Yeah, you can just shuffle them back next turn anyways. Okay,
Or
Lava
just
Golem
Lava
he can't
Golem.
shuffle back, but still he has 4 back rows. So I think Raphaël is fine. I'm not worried about Raphaël right now. There is the normal summon of Rysart. And also the effect of Telemans Kashtira. And I think the only thing that is in Raphaël's head right now is I have to deck out my opponent as quickly as I can now, because right now I am on 4,000 life points and my opponent is on 8k. And therefore I gotta get there with the deck out.
And the biggest problem right now is you don't have a convenient way to stop your opponent from attacking. You can once in a while summon out a Gary, but that's it.
And I mean, you already went through 2 of your Garys, so there's only 1 more in your extra deck actually.
There will be at some point an attack that's going through.
Yeah, but I mean, you can... Oh, we have Runick Tip. I mean, you can just go after all those monsters with Flashing Fire. Just popping them one at a time. I would really expect him to go for Flashing Fire here. I did not even see the Surge, but I would think it's Flashing Fire. Just going after the Lava Golem because it has the highest attack point. Or also Slumber, because Slumber can also very conveniently block attacks, because the monster that is being targeted by Slumber cannot...
Freezing Curses.
Freezing Curses cannot be used to negate anything, because everything is already negated by Skill Drain. But you can, of course, still special summon out another Gary. We are running over the Gary with the Lava Golem, and the Gary effect in graveyard resolves to destroy Telemann's Kashtira.
Jonah has the option to mill 2 cards from the top of his deck right now. I don't see how this would progress him. Now the Rise Heart is attacking, and again an attack goes through. I mean, Raphaël is almost at a point where he would need a Pot of Avarice in addition to the Runick Fountain just to recycle all the Garys.
Oh, and there's Kashtira Birth, but immediately the Runick Destruction is being thrown down, and that will progress him in decking his opponent out, because 4 cards banished is so strong. And not only that, Runick Fountain finally being triggered, and I think we're drawing 3 here,
It's
aren't we?
just another card of demise again.
1.
Now he drew 3 already.
Oh, okay, fair enough. And there comes the duality, getting him more cards. There can be only 1 also, would be kind of a nice option to hinder our opponent from summoning more and more Psychic monsters over time.
Yeah,
but we grabbed something else.
You only need 1 Spell Trap Zone.
Oh, there is Slumber. Slumber banishes free. Okay, let's banish free. Jonah, I don't think his deck can have that many cards anymore. I think we might as well be below 10 cards in our main deck already. So he's getting close, and there is the Messenger of Peace there.
This is a card that he really needed here. Now his opponent is not drawing into the spell trap removal again. Jonah is really desperate to find an answer to this board. We are normal summoning the Rise Heart again.
Rise Heart coming in.
Rise Heart unfortunately has 1,500 attack points.
That is exactly what Messenger of Peace is saying.
If this monster would have 1,400 attack points,
it would be so good.
Would be so much stronger.
Oh, but it looks like we're going for a Link 2, and IP Masquerena actually is on low enough of attack points to be able to attack here. But it's only 800 at a time. And I think Raphaël can take 800 points of damage here. It's fine.
That is true. And actually it's 900 because Messenger of Peace needs 100 life points to sustain its delve to the field every turn. However, we should have counted those. How many cards were those? About 10?
Right around 10, I would say. Something in the neighborhood of 10. So we are
so
keeping
many
track of
cards
the life
at hand.
points.
I think that we might see a possible deck out this turn already.
Yeah, he definitely has to go after it. Oh, but it looks like... Okay, yeah, first of all, Messenger of Peace, of course. But do we have stuff to do now in our main phase? Oh, wow, we have to activate Desires. I think that leaves us on, like, maybe 3 or 4 cards in our deck. That is actually insanity to activate the second Desires there.
Maybe he is trying to find the necessary cards for game. It actually looks like there are still a few more cards in the deck. This is the... Okay, so we are having the Freezing Curses. Can you actually activate those? I don't think so.
Yeah, you can only special summon.
Of course, you can special summon.
You can only special summon. You're drawing for another card. This is getting intense, but I mean, it's getting close to time, so Raphaël has to hurry up. He maybe even had to activate the Desires, and there comes Twin Twister. Good thing about Moonin, though, is Moonin banishes itself for cost, so it can even be activated under Skill Drain, so that's pretty good. He can just dodge the effect of Skill Drain, but oh, wait. I think Moonin can only go after... Wait, let me double check on Moonin. I think it has to be Runick cards that are targeted.
Runick Destruction was chained to the Twin Twister, so 4 additional cards would get banished. Really smart play by him, even though it does not help him with the Twin Twister effect. You still want to get rid of more cards.
The thing is, Moonin couldn't protect because it needs to be set cards or Runick cards that are being targeted, and therefore Moonin could not react to the to the 2 face-up cards that are targeted there. Wow.
Messenger of Peace really being destroyed.
Oh, 4 cards left in the deck of Jonah. This is getting close here. 4 minutes left on the clock. But if Raphaël somehow finds another Runick Destruction with something to destroy, or maybe a Smiting Storm, or a Slumber, I think he can definitely be in a position to win this game here.
He just has to hope, or we hope for him, that he hasn't banished every of his Runick cards with his Pot of Desires early, because that was rather a dangerous one.
And there is a destruction. But I mean, if I am Jonah, I'm never ever going to set a back row in this game ever again. I don't know whether there even is back row still left in his deck, to be honest, though. There is another Messenger of Peace.
He would have to activate another Twin Twister, and then Destruction could just get rid of the Twin Twister immediately, get rid of the last cards in Jonah's deck. Is there an answer for Jonah so he can still win this game against Raphaël?
But the problem I'm having right now is Raphaël cannot be on that many cards in his deck anymore either, so maybe he's even closer to decking out right now, which is a super interesting scenario, because he already got decked out once in this duel with his deck out strategy, and there comes back and be only one.
On an open game state after Jonah is checking his extra deck, trying to find a solution against the Messenger of Peace, but he says no, you cannot summon any Cybers or Pyro monsters from the extra deck, and I think that Cybers
we're giving it back over, and to me it looks like Raphaël has like probably a little more cards in deck than Jonah, so he's in the fine position. Also, let's not disregard that Moonin is actually giving you 1,000 life points now again. That skill drain is gone, so even if we're not getting there by deck out, we might as well get ahead in life points again.
Lava Golem also deals damage in every standby
True,
phase, so actually Raphaël is leading, and Raphaël takes the win against Jonah with the deck out strategy of Runick.
What an absolutely crazy game 3 there. Going second with the Runick cards. He is the last Runick player left in competition, and he's still very well in there because he's still on an X2 record, meaning if he wins the last round of Swiss, he's going to be one of the people joining the top 64.
Raphaël chaining the Runick destruction
That
onto
was
the
so
Twin
smart.
Twister was so smart. In this heated situation, he saw this win condition, he took it, and his opponent just had to give up at some point.
That was such a fun game to cast because it could have been actually a possibility that Raphaël is decking out again. After being decked out in game number 1 already, it would have been mental for a deck out deck, which is not that popular nowadays. Yu-Gi-Oh! Usually, back in the day, you had cards like, what were deck out cards back in the day?
Needleworm.
Yeah, for example, Needleworm was a classic one.
The Gravekeeper's continuous spell,
True.
that's it, when you attack, you mill one.
Exactly. So that was definitely a popular deck back in the day, but nowadays deck out strategies aren't that popular anymore. So we're even more hyped about one being in top competition right now. And I have to say, you said it in the feature match already, I'm quite a fan of the deck, honestly. I've been playing it myself.
You love it.
I'm definitely someone that would be supporting Raphaël with the deck decision because it is a pretty cool and fun deck, and it's also so unique. We talked about it. We have a lot of Kashtira decks left in competition, so even though that Jonah is probably going to have a hard time to top now, there's many more Kashtira players left in competition, so definitely you guys will be able to probably see another Kashtira deck in the feature match area.
That is true, and Kashtira is such a dangerous matchup for Runick, especially if you run Pot of Desires. Let's not forget about the Diablos' OTK.
That is pretty insane of a setup there. But Raphaël probably has battled multiple Kashtira decks over the course of the event already, and he has defeated many of them to even get here. Now being on a record of A2, he definitely is one of the guys that can still make it to the top cut. And I really personally, I want him to make it. I'm now a fan of Raphaël and his Runick strategy. He's the last one left. I mean, last round, we had the last Subterra player left in the tournament, and now this round, we had the last Runick player left in the tournament, so we, of course, are a little bit rooting for the underdog.
Of course, I mean, unfortunately, I think our Ninja player is out of the competition. He was also the last Ninja player in the competition, which is not that much of a surprise, because the deck isn't that popular, except for Basti. He loves it now.
I'm now in love with the deck, but I'm also in love with the Runick strategy, and the Runick strategy is the one that was victorious here in our round 11 featured match. So let's hear from the guy that made it happen. Let's give it over to Raphaël and Ed for the winner's interview.
Thanks, Basti. Yes, I am here with Raphaël, who's just won round 11. He's just asked me just before this to speak slowly because he says his English isn't great, but we're going to try and go through some of the moments that we've had in this duel. Firstly, congratulations. How do you feel at this stage of the tournament?
For the moment, the tournament is good for me. I just lost again one flu. He started Heavenly and Cosmic Cyclone, and again Cash with Heavenly. For the moment, it's cool.
Good, and that's also a great result. The second last round of Swiss, and you've managed to win. Let's go through some of the moments of your match. In game 1, you Lava Golems Jonah twice, so 2 Lava Golems straight off the bat. There was a moment attacking with the Lava Golems, the Diablosis from him, banishing lots of your deck, so you scooped. Talk to us about what you were feeling in that first game, because the Lava Golems were a good start, but then when you started to lose your deck, did you lose some confidence?
In the first game, he used a shifter, so I can summon the Eugene for add Fontaine, but I have only 3 Runick in my hand, so I use Desire and I banish the 3 Fontaine, and he summoned Jabalosis. I have 16 banish and 16 in the deck, so I lose. I just scoop because he don't look my extra deck with Jabalosis.
So then game 2, Jonah tried to wipe your field with the evenly matched, but you countered it with the Dark Bribe, which was a great moment. The Card of Demise, every time Card of Demise came out, the crowd went nuts. You guys have big headphones on, so I don't know if you can hear it, but especially in game 3, the crowd was screaming at so many points. It was very exciting. So kept gaining life points with Moonin, so it was easy to pay for the Messenger of Peace. And then just you had a huge field and you just basically stopped him from playing. So talk to us about what you were feeling in game 2.
In the game 2, I know I can't lose because I have Dark Bribe and Fusion Paradox. I just to wait, gain 1000 and take out my opponent. My opponent asked for the time and he scoop instead for we can play the last game, the first game.
So going into the third game, were you feeling confident or were you worried that you weren't entirely sure where it was going to go?
On my first turn, I don't know, but turn 2 I draw Lava Golem and I have Demise in my hand. So I Lava Golem and I have just one turn to wait for I'm sure to win. The one problem is the time because I pay 1000 for skill drain and I say to my opponent, play. I'm going to deck out you, play.
It was really exciting. That last game, like I said, the crowd were going nuts the whole time. But like you said, there was you golemed the Fenrir and the Arise Heart, so you managed to deal with some of the main Kashtira stuff right off the bat there. Jonah attacked both of your Gary the Runick Fang, so removed lots of his cards. And then another card of Demise, the Messenger of Peace, and you just stopped him from playing. You had such good control of the field, so he scooped. So now that you're at this point, how do you feel?
I think Messenger of Peace is a new Mystic Mine with Skill Drain or Zerkan. Konami say I don't play Mystic Mine, but I play it. Thank you for that.
Well, it's great. Congratulations. You've only got one more round of Swiss, and then you're done. Is there anything that you've gone up against this weekend that you've really had a bad time playing against, or has it been okay generally?
If I won the dice roll, it's okay against all deck. And I prefer playing against Flowanderies because it's not a big monster for me, just the Impen. It's okay for me.
I mean, that's quite rare. Most people really struggle going up against Flu, so you're quite a rarity. But like I said, congratulations, best of luck in the next round. Hopefully we'll see you in the top cut. Guys, do not go anywhere because we've got the final round of Swiss coming up very, very soon, and then we're getting into our top cut. See you soon.